Hi, this is Sheri Ann Richerson from experimentalhomesteader.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this happy birthday cafe card in Cricut design. I have already chosen my elements from Cricut Access, so what I'm going to do, and I've already sized them the way I want them, I'm just going to open this up. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go make it now. And it's going to pull it up, and as you can see on this side, it's going to show me all the different colors of cardstock that I'm going to need to make this design. And then I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to hit the little Cricut that says go. And I'm going to send this design oh, excuse me. I'm going to send this design to my machine. Over here, you can see this light is flashing. So I have already put paper on my Cricut mat here. You want to make sure this is pressed down really well. I'm going to line it up. I want to make sure my mat is under these little tabs. And then I'm going to press this button. This is going to load my mat. And now the little C over here, the little Cricut, is going to start flashing. And I'm just going to press that button to cut this out. I'm just going to let the machine do the cutting. And then what I'm going to do is each time that it has finished cutting the design, the load and unload button is going to flash, telling me that I can unload the mat. I will take my design off. The easiest way to do this is to lay the mat on a flat table or a flat surface and gently peel the mat back, pulling the paper forward. And then what I'm going to do after I get all of these designs cut out, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to assemble this card. See this light flashing? Now I know that you probably can't see that. Maybe you can. This is my little girl already cut out. And like I said, I will just bend the mat back on a flat surface. And the paper will peel away. Let me see if I can do this without this on a flat surface. Okay. There is my little girl design. Now there's a dial up here, and I do have this set to light cardstock because that's what I'm working with. But there are a lot of choices here: paper, vinyl, iron-on, light cardstock, fabric, or poster board. And then there's also a custom dial up here. And so I'm just going to keep adding the paper. Like I said, it will go and it will tell you in design space right there, it will say load the next mat. You can just hit OK, and then it will tell you to get that next mat loaded. It will of course tell you what color. See, it says load, set, go, so you know what color you need. And I will be back just as soon as I get all of these pieces cut out. Okay, so I have all of my pieces cut out, and now I'm going to start assembly. I'm going to start with the largest piece, which is the piece that says happy birthday. And I'm just going to use a little bit of glue here. I want to get enough glue that this sticks, but not so much that it makes a mess. Okay. Right, and then I'm just going to pick this up and position this. Then I'm just going to gently tap it down just so it makes contact. Then I'll go into the next piece. Sometimes I find the smaller pieces are just easier to hold and put the glue on than to lay down on the table and try to glue. If you're using double-sided paper like I am, you want to be sure that you look and you get the right side up, especially on little things like this eye, that it would be real easy to accidentally flip the other way. And sometimes on the double-sided paper, the only way you can tell is by the texture of the paper, because both sides might be, one side might be smooth and one side might be textured, or they might have a different texture depending on which side you have up. And be sure to go back and check, because sometimes even though you tap it down, they want to pop back up. I usually lay something heavy on top of everything that I glue once I'm done getting all the pieces glued together, and that just kind of helps hold it in place and helps it make contact. Right. Just going to set that aside for a few minutes and keep kind of an eye on it, because I know it's wanting to pop up. In fact, I think I'm going to reach over here and I'm just going to set that little tray right on top to help that stay down. And I'm going to kind of wipe my table here because I did have a little glue go over. So, and I'm going to work on the little table and umbrella. Okay. I think I want to do this a little different. I think I want to give this a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to use some adhesive pieces. They're 3D double-sided adhesive pieces is what they are. Let me see. I think I want to use 4 of these. That's probably too many. But I want this to stick really well and not come off. You just peel the backs off of these on both sides, the front and the back. And they're just adhesive. One side is yellow on mine and one side is white. They can be a little tricky if you don't have fingernails to get that paper off. There we go. I find that if I kind of scrape near the corners, then it makes it a little easier since I don't really have fingernails. Okay. Right. So there's my strips. Might want to reposition that one. If you need to reposition these, do it pretty quickly, because once they're stuck, they're just stuck. And they will tear the paper if you wait too long to do it. Okay. Now that just adds a little dimension there. I think this one goes here. Which way does it go? This one goes here. It's a good idea to position your pieces on something like this before you add the glue. You know, I think that I am going to use some smaller pieces, and I think I'm going to add some dimension with these too. So again, I'll just position them. Now, I did pull the adhesive off of these when I pulled them out of the packet. If you don't want to do this, or you don't have these pieces, you can just glue this on, just like we've been doing. And don't be afraid to change the colors out. You don't have to use the exact papers that I did. Okay, so there we go. That has a little bit of dimension to it. And I will just set that aside until I'm ready for it. And get rid of these little pieces of paper. I think I'm going to do the same thing with this balloon. I'm going to use one of the larger pieces and just add a little dimension. Again, I want to make sure which way this is going. Okay. Before I put my dimension sticker on it. And now I am going to assemble my little children I'm going to put on this card. Okay, this is my little girl. And, you know, she might be neat with a little dimension too. I think I'm going to use the smaller ones. I'm not going to try to do the real small pieces because I think these stickers are too large and I don't want to try to cut them. I've tried that before. You can cut them. It just, I found it wasn't the easiest and it kind of smashes them, and in a bad spot. I guess I should have put them on the little girl first. Because I definitely need one over this way. I think I'm going to move that one too. Like I said, if you get these off right away, they will come off, but they're not the easiest. And I do want some of this back showing like I have it, just for that extra dimension. A little bit of shadowing. Okay. I want to check and make sure this is how her hair is going to go. Okay. And I'll just turn it over and add a little glue. Got a little glue on my table, so I'm going to wipe that off. Right, there we go. I'm going to put her little dress on. Decide which way. I think it goes like that. Okay. And again, this is a small piece, so I'm just going to hold it in my hand to glue it. Same way with her little apron. I think she's looking really cute. Okay. Got a little excess glue over there. I'm going to try to dab it a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to put her little shoes on, and I think I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on her feet. Just go real light here, because I think that's going to make it easier to put these shoes on, as small as they are, than to try to actually put the glue on the shoe. Okay, there's one shoe. Okay, there's the second shoe. Okay, and now I need to put the bows in her hair. Again, I'm just going to put the glue up here, I think. I think it's going to be easier in the long run. Okay. Got a little excess glue up here. Again, I'm just going to dab it a little bit. Okay. Right. Okay, and I have a little tiny piece for her nose. Just going to very carefully. That's probably too much glue. So I think I'm going to try to remove some before I put her nose on. Okay, there is her nose. That little shoe is wanting to slip. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to set the little girl aside. There are cutouts for her cheeks, but I think I am going to embellish her with my markers that I prefer. And now we're going to work on the little boy. And again, I think I'm going to make him dimensional, but instead of doing what I did last time and having to try to redo it, I am going to put these dimensional stickers on the cutout piece. And then I'll just peel the fronts off the paper. Like that. That's going to give him some dimension. And then just going to glue his clothes on. Again, instead of trying to put the glue on the shoes, I'm going to put the glue, a little bit of glue on his feet. And then I'm just going to pick up the shoes and position them. I think it's going to make it a lot easier. I know it did on the little girl. Right, there we go. And so I'm going to do a little bit of embellishing and let these dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to be back to show you how I'm going to put this whole card together. Okay, so the last step is to assemble the card. I'm going to start with the happy birthday banner, which is going to go on the inside of the card. And I did use a pre-made card just because I had them on hand, and this has a really pearlescent finish on the card, on the paper, and I really like that. So plus it came with envelopes, and I know I could have made my own envelope, but sometimes it's just easier to embellish a pre-made card. And I'm holding this because there are a lot of little tiny sections on here that I need to make sure that I get the glue on. Okay, so I have that glued. I'm going to open up my card and position this where I want it. Now it's rather large, and I knew that going into the design, but this was exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to try to shrink this down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this tray on top of that design for just a few minutes and let it adhere. Okay, so I think this design is sticking down pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and close the card and start putting the design on the front. Okay, I'm going to turn this backwards and add the glue. And again, if you don't like the sizes of what I cut out, or you can shrink them down, you can do a larger card if you want to. I had thought about that, but I decided not to. Okay, so I'm going to find what I think is basically the center and go ahead and glue this in place. I'm going to be real careful up here because I want it to adhere to the card, but I don't want to smash it. So just a little bit of pressure, a little gentle pressure to hold that down is really all that's needed. I'm going to go ahead and get the chairs ready and put them in place. Okay. There's one chair. I don't quite want it touching the table. I want it close, but not really touching. I have a little bit of glue. I'm going to dab up here, a little bit of overflow. Okay. So here's what we have so far. And then, as you know, I have the little children that I want to put on. And I think I'm going to use my 3D strips again. Put them on, and I think again just because I want to add some extra dimension, so I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to just set this on here. It's not heavy enough to really mesh the strips, and I'm going to position several of these 3D strips. Actually tore the backing off of one. I'm going to position several of these 3D strips on this little girl. And again, just peeling this off. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing to the little boy. And the reason I'm going ahead and doing this like this is because that will give that glue that I've already put on the card a little more chance to dry. Normally I give cards about 24 hours after I make them to completely dry before I give them to anyone. Okay, now I want to put my little boy over here. And I want to put, let's see, she has a balloon she's going to be holding. So I think I want to position her right here. And then I'm going to do one of the 3D strips on the balloon. And let's see, now how do I want to do this? I want to add just a touch of glue to the tip of this string on both sides because I'm going to tuck it in between her hands. And I'm not sure which side is actually going to stick, possibly both. But I want to definitely make sure that both sides have an adequate amount of glue there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this under here, put this here, and I'm probably going to take one of my little Cricut tools that I have, and I don't have it out, so I need to get it out of my case. But what I think I'm going to do is do something like this to hold it, maybe with some tweezers or something, so that the glue sticks onto her hand. I may have to press that up a little bit like that, so I keep my effect. But that's basically what my card is going to look like, and I think it is really cute. So that's the front of it. That's the inside. And there you go. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.